Attention. That has been the subject of a few videos I have done, but it's so important that today we're going to delve more deeply into the subject of attention. I'm Barbara Dam, the unconventional clinician, and my purpose here is to help you to understand stuttering. Whether you want to dissolve your stuttering or whether you just want to understand it, I want to give you information that will help you along the way. So today we're going to discuss attention, and I have brought along with me a book about how people speak. I don't know if you can see this the right way here because it might be mirror image, but it's called Speaking from Intention to Articulation, and it's by William Levelt. It's a wonderful book about speaking, and today I want to show you what he says about attention. This whole, and you can see it's a pretty thick book, is about how people speak. It's not about stuttering in particular, it's just about how the process of speaking is carried out. Well, you don't have to have all this knowledge to be able to speak, and nobody does. Little children don't have all that knowledge, and they don't know how they speak. But because there are some issues that are causing you difficulty, I want you to understand the important ones. So, let me talk to you a little bit about what he says. And I'm reading from his book. Talking as an intentional activity involves conceiving of an intention, selecting the relevant information to be expressed for the realization of this purpose, ordering this information for expression, keeping track of what was said before, and so on. These activities require the speaker's constant attention. The sum total of these mental activities will be called conceptualizing. The product of conceptualizing will be called the pre-verbal message. That means all this goes on before you've even gotten language. Then he goes on to say that all the other components, however, are claimed to be largely automatic. There is very little executive control over formulating or articulating procedures. Formulating means formulating the language, and articulatory procedures means the motor program. He also says that the speaker doesn't have to ponder the grammar. He goes into a little bit more detail about what the grammar is. We don't need to do that. But then to quote him, he says, and neither will much attention be spent on retrieving the word horse when one wants to refer to the big live object that is conventionally named that way. These things come automatically without any awareness. Well, that's what I have been saying to you. That is what I have been trying to tell you. We don't pay attention to the words in our planning. Yes, we do plan them, but we don't start thinking about them. So attention is really important. Now, attention is very flexible. And doesn't this explain why stuttering is so flexible? You can stutter one moment on part of a sentence, one conversation, not in another, because you are changing where your attention is. And I want you to just understand, attention is the senses and as well as cognitive processes. So when we're paying attention right now, you're listening to me, I hope, but for a minute, not a minute, even just a couple of seconds, I want you to listen to what other sounds are in the background. What do you hear? Maybe a bird chirping or a dog barking or the air conditioner wheezing. Something. And I can keep talking, but I'm asking you to pay more attention to those sounds. So maybe you will even not pay as much attention to me, maybe still somewhat, but if your language isn't English, your mother language isn't English, and you're still struggling to understand English, well, maybe even then you'll understand me a little bit less. I know that my ability, for instance, to understand French depends so much on my attention. I have to be paying extreme attention to understand when I hear French, attention that I don't need for English. So attention depends on many things. It depends on what we feel is important, priorities. So where do you want to put your attention? What do you think is the important thing to pay attention to at any given second? It depends on belief systems. What do you believe you need to pay attention to? It depends on the circumstances. For instance, if I am doing something and then all of a sudden I get a beep on my phone, I can decide whether I want to pay attention to what may that beep happen. Do I look at my messages or not? Or am I doing something else? And that is all really important, because the good thing about attention is that we can decide where we want to put our attention. We do have executive control over what's going on in the pre-verbal aspects of speaking. We do. So, I will give you an example. Sometimes I do let those beeps on my phone distract me. But other times I say, no matter what, if there's a beep, I'm not paying any attention. It's just not going to have my attention. Sometimes parents, you're so involved in your phone and your little one starts mommy, mommy or daddy, daddy, and you still are paying attention to your phone. Doesn't it happen sometimes? But if you decide, this is enough, my little one is more important, you will, as soon as you hear that little cry or the mommy, daddy, you will drop your attention on what you're reading and go to your child. So it really depends on our decisions. And this is something that is so empowering for you. So don't think that just because you have always, for years, been putting your attention on your words, the place that Level says needs to be automatic. Just because you've done it in the past doesn't mean you have to do it now. You have the choice. You can train your brain to pay attention to what you want. And my suggestion is pay attention to your macro thoughts. Pay attention to what you want to get across to your listeners, but don't get into the micro of which words or sounds I'm going to say and how I'm going to say them. So, I hope you like this video. Please give it a like and share it. It's really important for you to share these things with other people who will benefit by them as well. Until we meet again, let's just have fun expressing ourselves.